We're gonna need full blast today. My voice might sound a little different. I'm a tiny bit sick, but I am here anyway because this is a pirate ship, and unfortunately, when you're on the high seas of the imagination, you can't just take a break. You cannot take a break. So welcome back, everybody. Artist Journal, October 6, 2023, broadcasting to the world. From the ship in my mind in Berlin, Germany, welcome back. Thank you for all the comments, all the retweets. This Twitter video thing is, who knows, I figure it's like people just scrolling by as a view, but I still love to see that huge number. For me, huge. It's all relative, I suppose. But welcome to the show. I couldn't put as much effort in. The medications, the cold medications are working. They're incredible, frankly. And it seems to be moving through my system very quickly. So I am taking it easy, but I still kind of had to do this. And I was so excited to show this work by Qua Nina, an artist I've been following almost since the start of this show. Tezos classic, I think you could say. And she put out this beautiful physical work here. Let me just get you the details on it. It is oil, acrylic, and sequins. I think sequins, I should really know this, but I think sequins are these stars, if I'm not mistaken. And sequins on canvas. 2016, but just minted, and just a beautiful, beautiful painting. It kind of reminds me, and again, Qua Nina, her other work, which maybe we can bring up quickly here, it kind of reminds me, you know what it reminds me of, frankly, is my grandma. Shout out to Nana, all out there, and shout out to Mom out here. It kind of reminds me of my grandma, who was a costume designer for Shakespeare on the Saskatchewan, and when I see this stuff, she loved this stuff, and she would love this work. And as a result, I love this work, and I think I'd love it anyway. It's kind of funny, there's almost like a Firefox feeling, but this is 2016, so that is simply a fox. But probably symbolic here. With this, again, what I would call a visionary artist in the tradition of like Alex Gray, Marcelo Pinel. It's a whole kind of genre, loosely we could say, of painting that is, I would call as kind of visionary. And, it's Ballard. J.G. Ballard had a great term for what I'm trying to say here, and he celebrated Warhol and William Burroughs as naïves of the media landscape. And what he meant by that were people who were trying to find the truth on their own terms, or their own truth, for lack of better terms. At one point he said he doesn't believe in the truth. Whereas one interview book by Vail was, nothing is true, nothing is untrue. I think that was quotes, J.G. Ballard quotes, which I highly recommend. Nothing is true, nothing is untrue, to be more specific there. But back to, but this is kind of like what this is. Sometimes it's called, we even see it in the Unknown Collector show, Digital Naïfs, and it's meant as a positive term, like people who are finding making sense of the world on their own terms and then putting their truth out there. And there's a great value in that. Again, look at Alex Gray. Again, perhaps we could put Marcelo Pinel. And people could fit into several categories here. You could just say a interesting mystical acrylic painter from, I believe, Peru and Argentina here. Is it Argentina again? That is hilarious. So just a really, really cool painting. Again, and look at this at the bottom here. These kind of stars of sorts in the tiling. And, what do we see? We see what looks like... I was actually looking for if there was a print that this was based on. There's an astronomer out of Denmark that I was just looking up, but whose name is escaping me. Johan Tycho, I can't remember. But all to say, I love the subject matter. Beautifully treated with these kind of Renaissance clothing. There's something about it which I find kind of special and exciting, and interestingly, appropriating, from a contemporary art world kind of way of interpreting things, appropriating sequins, if that's what these stars are, I assume they are, and then mixing them with painted stars, and kind of reappropriating or appropriating these works. And this reminds me of like beautiful British, also kind of British painting here. I love these works here with the big kind of collars from the 17th century. Some of those works, when they hit, from I think they're from the 17th century, 1600s. When they hit, they're spectacular. And often they're by artists which maybe you've never heard of before. But some of them are just astonishingly beautiful. I think there's a very famous one of Queen Elizabeth I. So shall we quickly take a look? Let's actually look at Qua Nina's work here. And so again, kind of what I like to call a visionary artist, again, in the tradition of these other great visionary artists. You see Shiva here, just all sorts of really interesting work from Argentina and Peru. So another, shout out to Tornado Rodriguez, another Argentinian for you. Not by design, it just happened that way. A big shout out and thank you to People of Tezos, Piero at People of Tezos, for picking up a work on Secondary, and also Magician, I think, picked up a couple of more 8-bit nature works. So thank you for that. And I did want to mention this. Anna Dart posted this yesterday, Meet Pocobelli on AI Art Weekly, and they just did such a nice job on this. It's a great website, and I brought it up here. AI Art Weekly, they really did a nice job on this, and I got some really nice comments on it, and I just wanted to say thank you, and check out their website. They put out Twitter Spaces totally, super often. They are working extremely hard, so if you get the chance and you're not sure, just click on their works on their AI Art Weekly magazine and check out what they're talking about. I mean, I was interviewed on their show, I think, back in August, and it was awesome. So turning to the comments here, thank you so much for Score, also known as Psycho. Thank you so much for having me in your space. I feel so lucky for being there. Well, the feeling is mutual. I also didn't understand about MoMA Postcard. I'm curious if anybody did understand. If anybody did understand how the MoMA Postcard works, do let us know. Because my theory is that you put one pixel at a time and then it gets passed around, and maybe there's a prompt that says sunset, and then you put your pixel and then it gets sent over to someone else. That's what I think is happening. But if anybody can confirm, that would be awesome. So it's great to see your review. Yeah, you're not the only one. Goose Generator looks amazing. I agree. That was a pretty cool website. Santiago Isacodal, great episode. Yes, Argentinian and Turkish artists are doing amazing works. Yes, so echoed out there. There is agreement out there. Dragic, lovely episode. Also, I want to commend your effort to include more artists and to diversify. Great job. Yeah, it's an ongoing, putting 4 shows out a week here. It's not easy, in a sense, and it also requires conceptual evolution. When I started this show, I'm in a way different place as far as where I am. It's haircut day. I don't know if I mentioned that already. It is haircut day, so to everybody's hopefully relief, including me and my mom. My mom was commenting. It's hilarious. Again, shout out to mom. I want to this is not as easy as it sounds, right? Because you kind of want to keep. There is a curation at work, so you can't just say anything and everything and then you put it up. And I have to be able to understand it. So this is very subjective, and I am just kind of really sharing my journey here. And so, again, I always say feel free to send works if anybody's watching this. I do look, and sometimes I don't have a ton of time, but the more I just, send works by DM. Send me a message, because then I start to understand more and more, again, and I also do my own research. So I appreciate you saying that. And it's kind of not as easy as it sounds in a strange sort of way. You could always add, but I'm also trying to tell a narrative, and I feel like we also have a great foundation now to branch out. There's a year of kind of discussing the art and what kind of is interesting here and what maybe is going on here. And then I feel like we've got a nice foundation to start branching out with credibility. In a sense, finally on this, it's kind of like a DJ set where if you try their kind of crazy experimental track, the second track, you don't have that credibility when you play it. But if it's deep 3 hours into a mix or an hour into a mix and you've played great track after great track after great track, then you can bring in experimental track and you'll have that credibility. Right. So, so it's kind of like that as well. So again, if you think I'm missing anyone, by all means, DM me, Dragic, or anyone else. Runetune with a cool comment here. Your commentary on Joseph Beuys is incredibly succinct and helpful. Yes, I highly recommend watching the movie. It really helped me understand Beuys, and because I was going to MoMA and all these places, and it felt really dry, didn't it? And I remembered that image, Portrait of the Artist, explaining images to a dead hair that we looked at yesterday. I was really moved by that image, but basically nothing else really moved me. And it wasn't until I saw the movies that I understood it was a living, breathing art. And what you see at the MoMA to me are just bones, the remnants, evidence, but really no different than some sort of archaeological. So if you're wondering why in my opinion, if you're wondering why you're not having some sort of aesthetic breakthrough and, tearing up at Joseph Beuys in the museum, that's part of the reason, in my opinion. So anyway, I'm glad you found that helpful. Yes, you are totally right. His work is meant to be experienced in real time. Social sculptures, as you say, is a fantastic way to describe his art. Did you come up with that? No, that is as far as I understand, that is a Joseph Beuys term. And they had maybe 2 or 3 paragraphs in the art history book that I had when I was 18, when I took Art History 110 at university, and it came up social sculptures. It's a wonderful term. I've never forgotten it. It's a really cool term, and they mentioned it in that right-click save essay as well yesterday. What we have now is a document of the ideas which were materialized as the performance, but let me reload this page. Sometimes when you make it large, here we go. But I still think these documentations are valuable, indeed, and maybe the way to do it is you just put video beside them. Like, it could be that simple. Right? Like, there's the chalkboards. You see the chalkboards. You have no idea what's going on. You see the video with the chalkboards, and then maybe there's translation, use German. Then you maybe start to understand what's going on. But it's interesting, isn't it? Continuing on, Scamra, great show. I love Martin Brooks' work. Indeed. I'm so happy to see the attention to the details in the work here. I missed out on his works on ETH this week. I need a plan. The collector of the month, as I like to call Scamra here. Thanks so much for showing Ode 0x3. And then there's another tree just tracking. And also with the works that I show here, it's also about tracking people's progress and just seeing how people are evolving, the decisions they're making along the way. So you'll notice, like, I kind of skim in and skim out into artists and whatever, and it's really just following my interest to see, what are they going to do next? It's not necessarily, anything more than that. Okay? But thank you for the comment, Scamra. Salieri, the spam art work. I was in Artist Journal. How brilliant you are. The embedded work is one of the latest works of the great, the Professor Sponzi Brothers Railroad Company, one of the first artists I saw doing this spam art madness. So maybe it's kind of like trash art. It's like a thing. There is a show I was going to do called Spam. Maybe I still will one day, but the to-do list is still getting longer and longer here. Interesting and fun episode as always. Thank you for supporting crypto art. Thank you, Salieri, and I appreciate the comments. Michael. So Michael is going to be on a week from Wednesday, October 18th on the Space. I'm very excited about that. And I just wanted to share Michael's feed here. He had a cool post, and I believe, as far as I remember here, has written a book on hen. So just so you know, Nicolau Mike 1 is the Twitter handle, and posts like cool works here, Gio Mariani. Some works which deserve another look. Letters to the Mirror, and Oh My God, I Drawed It, by Outliving the Hype. So you can check it out. Give Michael a follow if this interests you. I think very cool, and I'm looking forward to having him on the Space here. And this is an interesting artist. We've seen some of these artists before. There is John, Drum and Bass by John, and of course Demon Ego. So just very cool. More just super interesting people in this scene writing books. Very cool. Pamela Cerrone. Today, my first exhibition. So also, look how great this looks, by the way. Look at how great this looks. Like, imagine going into a contemporary art gallery and seeing all this. And you gotta love how Pamela has put everything together here. And kind of a gift solution of sorts here. Let's just make a tapestry, and with almost like this red and white kind of tablecloth type pattern. And just like a contemporary art gallery, sometimes, just dragging off onto the floor here. Very nice. I guess that's Pamela there. Hard worker. Look at how good this looks. Like, this looks fantastic. And I'd love to see this kind of more up close and just see, look at that kind of nice background. So maybe that's for sale. Even gotta love the way the name is put on the card there. So pretty exciting and interesting from Pamela. And here's one more, Pamela Cerrone. And here, like a bicycle, so maybe the GIF. Remember way back when, for those that have been watching a while, where I was discussing, one solution to the GIF that I had is you put the work that's moving in the middle, and then you put along the whole walls, you put like each little frame, for example. Like that's one solution to making the GIF physical. Here's another one, and this is quite brilliant, isn't it? Using bicycle wheels. And so you probably see the movement here of the GIF. I mean, this is brilliant. Brilliant, brilliant. And just a final on Eizo here, light suspension. Just picked up the Hanamula metallic prints. So we saw these yesterday, but I don't think we saw them signed. So here's Eizo 1 of 5. And interesting how Eizo actually uses basically what I'd call like I guess it's an artist name to sign it here, which I think is interesting. And, even on like German tax forms, or like if you have an artist name, you're supposed to put it on, which is hilarious. FYI, if you ever move to Germany. So anyways, very cool. And selling on object, which I think is a trend that I could see happening more and more, where the marketplace, the digital marketplace, becomes an avenue for selling physical work. Okay. Retro Manny, it's here. So big congrats. This looks like a beautiful, I don't know if, for those that know Barry Windsor Smith, it kind of has a bit of a Barry Windsor Smith kind of look. Beautiful. The winner of the Retro Man DTIYS contest has been turned into the 10th and final installment of the Volume 1 comic book collection. Only 4 of 5 editions of Ojo Vivo Motions cover available. Link in description. And it moves. Look at how beautiful that is. 0 dimension. So let's see where this goes. I mean, it's a digital comic book here. Like, let's see where this whole Retro Man thing goes. I love the ongoing, persistence, development of the idea and everything. So very cool from Retro Manny, as per usual. Here's Neutro Arts. We looked at their website the other day, but it looks like it is now going to kind of live and working. And here you can see it. So just kind of interesting. Like, it uses Zora Network to where you can buy the works using Zora on your phone. I assume this is like MetaMask or something. And here it is. I mean, so just very cool from Neutro Arts. Neutro's web is open. We've been looking at websites. I looked at Uxine's website the other day. It's just interesting. This is an important part of this whole ecosystem. There's a credibility that comes with having your own website. And, I say that to myself, and I have a website, but I haven't been updating it. But maybe I'll start a little more, put that interview, for example. Scrolly Sky. So Gogolitis, and big shout out and thank you to Gogolitis, put out a very nice tweet this morning. The celestial firmament comes to life in a symphony of digital interactions. Also gave me a GIF for full transparency here, but I love Gogolitis and will always show Gogolitis. Here's just another beautiful work. Kind of would hang very well with Kareem Safa, and again, has this nice kind of, what I want to call motherboard, circuit board kind of feel to it, and just simple, minimal work here with beautiful, recognizable Gogolitis colors and scale. Beautiful work here, crafted and animated with Aseprite, edition of 60, and I think it was on Twitter, Gogo was saying, just put an offer of anything, if I remember right, but check Gogolitis' Twitter. Mint.fun, magic.exe, so this was pretty cool. This is on mint.fun. So magic.exe is the work. I'm by Tosior. That's the Mint person. So LXTXCX, we may have seen them before here. Just cool work. So I made it bigger. I've never heard of mint.fun before, but I thought it was a pretty cool work. Gotta love the dithering, the Windows 95 sort of vibe, and everything. Just hilarious and cool. Just very cool work. Great colors too. You know who this is, Ed Marola, Acrobat. There's something very modern, a capital M, about this work. Again, I just think of like Picasso and all this sort of thing. Oh, there's some music too. First, let's look at the work a little bit. Actually, maybe I can turn on the music. Oh no, sorry, there's no music, just a mint. So a free mint on Zora here, where again, you can mint for free. By the way, you don't need to bridge now as an artist, and you can start kind of building your collection through selling works as free mints. So very cool model, as Sabato has pointed out. Look at these great uh, just kind of smudging of the pixels over here. And again, just feels like I love the subject matter. And again, these old kind of cities here. I think you'd call that an arcade, as we've been saying here. And just really nice, kind of reminiscent of Santiago's Tool, as well as I was just sort of putting on semi-opacity, and you start getting really interesting textures like this. Maybe it almost looks like maybe it was made with that, at least partially. Maybe we'll see. I think Ed is put out, or is going to put out, another show here, excitingly. So check out his YouTube, and look at this. The artist mech.txt. And on the space where we had mech.txt, I remember Cicero, mech.txt really likes Cicero, interestingly, and I think this might be Cicero. And anyways, very just cool, a Roman senator, of course, and just a very nice, interesting work. Look at all this noise in the frame here. Contrasting with the structure inside and almost looking like circular pixels, but not. I think that's still square pixels. So, of course, mech.txt likes to use classical references. So here is one. So interesting experiment, order. Order. Sounds very Roman. Blotter NFT, embracing vulnerability. Check this out. So we've looked at a couple of Blotter's works here. And minimum offer is 3.5 Tez. Now check this out. So there's this, and this cool kind of very elaborate dithered work here, but then go down. The 5 highest offers will receive the special 5 of 5 Game Boy Color Kiwi version piece. And I have to say, it's kind of back to this whole discussion I've been having for months here, it seems, at least a couple of months, on this whole tension of digital copies here. I don't see anything wrong with this. I mean, I've done it myself on some of the screen memories. My first mints on Tezos were some of those screen memories, but remixed. But I've always had a little bit like, is this okay? But I think it's totally fine. Again, it's like, is Warhol just going to use the screen print once and say, okay, I can't do it again? No. So I think this is legit, and I think it's great. And I think it kind of opens the doors, in a sense, as long as people want to buy them or be sent them. And this is beautiful, by the way. Like, it's a different experience here in the green, and it's quite beautiful. So why shouldn't this exist? Right? So just very interesting and beautiful work. Nicholas Dietrich, this came out a couple of weeks ago. I was on Nicholas Dietrich's page, and I saw I had missed this. Refresher. The digital medium refreshes the act of looking and drawing. So more discussion here on the digital medium, and it looks like almost like an eye kind of thing, but maybe not quite. Like, and here we see all the machinery here. Interesting circular work, and interesting what's going on here and there. So it's like input and maybe an output of sorts. Just a cool work here by Nicholas Dietrich, 5 Tezos, and there are 16 left on primary. Slava 3, special GM for everyone, for my friends. Not sure if this is a new or an old work, but I thought it was pretty cool. And one of my favorite parts here is actually this cursor that is going around the page. I think that's brilliant. It adds a lot of fun to the work, and a very modern kind of subject matter delivery guy or gal. Continuing on, a really cool work by Haiti Roquette called Hack. Simple, but very cool and effective. And yeah, I mean, it kind of says it all. Just a very cool kind of, I want to say pixel art painting, like a digital painting of sorts. A beautiful animated painting with beautiful pixels. Really cool work. You know, part of the reason I think this works is because you have this kind of solid geometric computer here, and then you have kind of the chaos, completely different colors. So you get these contrasts, and you gotta love just the simplicity of this kind of pixels bleeding out of the computer. Just a cool work, edition of 4, and that sold to one person Winter Wallet for 13 Tezos. Continuing on, Tito YS90 decorated devourer. So a really interesting animated drawing here by Tito. Great to see their work here again. And here you see kind of the surreal illustration that we often see, or that we sometimes see. This is interesting too. That looks like a rear view mirror, but with a landscape in the background. And here is an apple with a dragon coming out, almost kind of phallic looking, interestingly. And here we see an interesting vase and some leaves here. So just an interesting, again, surreal work here. So yeah, kind of suggestive here. And the skull and everything, interesting work, isn't it? Edition of 10, it looks like it is sold out. Oh, it's just been minted, not listed yet, so you can still get it if you want one. I assume. Check out their Twitter feed. Seba Sestaro, GM, just kind of returning again to Seba's work here. And this might be an older work, but this was a GM, and I just thought it was cool. And again, as we kind of try and understand these artists we're looking at, I thought this was another kind of clue as to what, you know, Seba is up to. Interesting colors, too. I was almost tempted to start with this because I thought it was kind of brilliant. Of course, this is Die with the Most Likes, who I do follow. That is a Twitter bug. Still checks out. Great guy, Die. Selling shares of myself on an app to fractionalize my sadness. That is brilliant, to fractionalize my sadness. So probably maybe a reference to the friend tech thing, or who knows, but you almost don't even need to know that reference. I find that hilarious and brilliant. And we see the brilliance of Die with the Most Likes satire here. A great satirist, as we consistently, a great satirist. And there's a lot to be said for that. And great artist, okay? Amber Vittoria with an interesting series here on another website I haven't even heard of, highlight.xyz. I mean, we saw mint.fun. Here's highlight.xyz. Figments. And there are several minted tokens. And as you can see here, just playing with abstraction and circles and making a whole series. It looks like generative art. Like, look at how pretty this is. Figments is Amber Vittoria's first generative collection not done in partnership with another artist. So nice website here too, I might add. Highlight.xyz. Pretty cool. I actually really like the decision to put the cream color underneath. It makes it look like a beautiful canvas. Let's see what else. Yeah, that's a really great kind of color decision, seemingly from over here. So anyways, cool series from Amber Vittoria. And continuing on, the Paper Crane, who also I follow. This is interesting, up to something. It's been over 2 months since I minted something on my own, as I have been collaborating and building things behind the scenes. So maybe another generative art series. So I'm excited to announce my open edition will drop this Friday. There will be a raffle of gifts for minters, more details soon. So just kind of interesting, watch this space with Paper Crane. And I recognize that. I didn't even do that on purpose today. I didn't, I swear to God. Okay, so the taste with an awesome work here. And I love the ambiguity. Here we have some, several arms. We have oil rigs in the background. And we have, or I think that's what you'd call, maybe there's another name for these. And you have like kind of a wheat field or a field of like desolate, almost dead grass here. And then you have the lightning here. So almost seemingly, perhaps, a statement on the climate, perhaps. What is the title? Man plans, God laughs. The fool can never smell the devil, not even if he does stuff in his nose to taste. 2023. So it is at 20 Tezos. Pretty nice painting, isn't it? Interesting kind of narrative painting there. Kappa Sage on, I saw this on Instagram, and I think this is a new work. And again, almost like Renaissance looking in its elaborateness, isn't it? So just like, look at all these works here, really building, building an impressive body of work here. Kappa Sage, I think out of Argentina, if I'm not mistaken. Here's someone new that I hadn't seen before, Leonidas Valdez. And hey, I just dropped my Genesis collection on Zora. And so here are just a few works. Again, I didn't prepare as much this time, so I'm just kind of using Twitter as a way to look at the works. Look at this. We're going to see another artist that kind of has a bit of a similar feeling to this later in the physical work area. So interesting work here. I can't tell if it's physical or digital. So just watch this space here. Now on our Zora, just interesting work. And PP Universal on Instagram kind of looks like the Michelin tire guy, but not sure. On roller skates here, and beautiful work here. actually, and using repetition in a really smart way. Kind of has a Lorna Mills feel on the marquee margin, for lack of a better term. Interestingly painted. And let's see if we can see the translation. Smoking break while it's 40 degrees and I'm absolutely covered in rubber. So interesting work from PP Universal. Meta 23 by Not a Number. I think this is Not a Number, Sad Fox. So a mint on Zora here, and looking like the Firefox logo, kind of sad. Maybe it's the bear market here. We're not getting rich here. These days, at least. Don't Buy. So here's HTTP Saint, and the artist is Don't Buy. And another cool kind of still life of sorts with what I was calling the blue screen of death, but it looks like actually there is text here that is not the BSOD, as they like to call it, as I used to know it. So anyways, there's some text here. Interesting work, some nice texture from Don't Buy, HTTP Saint, and this is only 4 editions, and they're available for 12 Tezos on Object. Joda, Windows Waves video art made with Hydra. So I've never heard of Hydra, and so let's just take a closer look here. Actually, I think I brought this up. So Hydra, I left this in so that we could see the software, and here it is. Video art made with the code in Hydra. So maybe that's a programming language, and pretty impressive. I mean, this is code, right? So this is a whole other, I guess is this generative art? I mean, I'd call it, on a first pass, I'd call this animated abstract, which seems to be a very kind of loose genre of sorts. But the fact that it's made with code rather than, in a sense, does it matter how it's made is, I guess, my question that I'm just going to leave out there so we can get through the rest of the show. But when you're classifying the genres, does it matter how a work is made, or is it just the result? Like if this was made with a video or Adobe Express or something, does the end result, if you can't tell, does that change the genre? Maybe it doesn't matter, but interesting just sort of questions I ask myself here. Lorna Mills. There's something else going on here, referring to Fiel's art. So many artists have the technique in place to make similar pieces, yet Fiel's art always has a strange, soft magic in their work. And that's true. Fiel's does have their own real feeling to their work here. And here's just another beautiful work. And you wonder if this is code, right? And does it matter? Does it matter? My artwork breakthrough collection curated by Killer Acid. So that's impressive. Killer Acid doing amazing things here. So just very cool here. Look at all those likes. 57,000 views. Feels, let's just look at, 20,000 followers. This work gets out there, and it's felt by the digital world out there. Inavare, Fig. So some cool glitch video art here, and we see a fig kind of with a bit of what seems like kind of feedback here in the shape and black and white, and just kind of a nice richly textured work, analog video glitch work. Dancing Fig created by video artist Inavare, by now for 15 Tezos on secondary, sold out at 6 Tezos on primary. Some transferred. And here's Chromavision's Adrift, and there's a beautiful tweet out. Look at how rich these textures are here. These great colors. And again, it kind of reminds me of Martin Brook there and Curio Fringe. What if you start applying this to painting like they're doing? You start getting some pretty interesting results, mingling the mediums, as I like to say here. Look at these great colors. Just beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Chromavisions on Object, edition of 15, and sold out at 5 Tezos. And there are many familiar faces. Ex-Mortal, Intensity Digital Glitch Collage. So pretty ambitious digital collage here in a glitch way. So again, digital glitch collage. I mean, very interesting, right? And playing with masks, and you see the sun there kind of setting. Just interesting work and beautiful color, I might add. Cool concept, something we can kind of latch onto and understand, and then we can kind of investigate the work from there. Mika Oladev, Artifact 51, so putting out a ton of work here. Thought this one was pretty cool. And a glitch artist, and just another beautiful work here with just interesting kind of portrait glitch, 1500 by 1500, pixel art, 3D, and glitch in the tags there. Edition of 1, and let's just see, I think it was selling for 50, now 55, to Absurdity after 1 minute. Those one of ones, I keep coming back to, again, if you're having issues, you're not selling as much as you'd like to, just make a one of one. And that kind of really will make some collectors a little crazy to kind of get them excited. Let's put it that way. Psycho Ihara. So here is a work by Psycho, and this is a combination here. This is for the ONBD art times super rare space, the crypto pawn shop. And so the reason I brought this up is, first, it's a beautiful work, but we were discussing this on the Twitter space, Kira, I think we call it. I create Kira, which is sparkling trading cards. So one of the things we learned from Psycho last episode from the Twitter space is she was a big trading card collector, and it was a huge influence on her work. Fascinatingly, me as well. Like, trading cards were hugely influential. Here it is on super rare, and let's see if there's volume. There's no volume. So, but like you see, Psycho's awesome work here, and again, it's like this digital trading card. Too much fun, and this great text in the background here. Just a really, really cool piece from Psycho Hera, presented by ONBD. Shout out to them on super rare, on their super rare space. So very cool. Punk's Distorted, just minted on 01, so people are still using 01. Pretty cool work. I'm not going to stay on it too long because of the flashing. But cool work on 01. And here's Salawaki. Get the volume going here. So kind of referencing the crypto scene here a little bit, as we'll see in the description.
Please, I'm begging you, up only.
So seemingly trying to change the screen. Virtual Reiki for day traders, crypto bros, starving Tezos artists is advised to come back to this after after experiencing bear market struggles. This is an edition of 20, now on secondary for 26, and sold out at 5. So nice work from Salawaki. Bosque Gracias, this is on Zora. Compost car, it's influenced by Grandma Fiat 1500. She was Italian gardener too. This is a tribute to the passage of time, making this plants grow inside our history. So cool shot of Grandma with the Fiat 1500. Beautiful, again, more beautiful kind of photo work from Bosque Gracias. And here it is. Now here is the car, and I didn't realize, I thought this would be the photo, but here's the car. Interesting. And then the plants coming through, again, reminiscent of Max Ernst's garden airplane traps, where the foliage is coming out of the technology. We've looked at that before, but we're going to hold off this time, but cool taillights here and everything. So free mint on Zora. Skamra. So another tree here, and so just interesting to watch Skamra's development here, again using AI stable diffusion, really interesting kind of textures going on here, and interesting using these big stripes here too, and going through this tree here, so just interesting work from Skamra. Tukes, Nature's Duality. Look at this. This looks like this looks like 20,000. This looks like a kind of a beautiful, it's got a little bit of Van Gogh in the sky, a little bit. It looks a little bit like an Impressionist painting, but not entirely. Even like a Pissarro or something. Let's keep looking. This is something I actually want to point out. Tukes has a lot of followers as well. And look at this, like 1 million have looked at this AI artwork here. And one thing I've noticed is Tukes shows up to a lot of Twitter spaces. And I think if you're trying to build your Twitter following, I was thinking to myself, if you want to build your Twitter following, go to a lot of spaces and just hang out, because often at those Twitter spaces, people will follow the people that are in the space. And I wonder, like, that seems to be, and I don't know if it's on purpose or just enjoying the spaces, but it seems to really be working. And as we know, like, it's pretty important. Here's another one, 29,000 views. I'm not sorry for anything. I'm not sure if we looked at this yesterday, but if we did, we can look at it again. So another beautiful AI landscape from Tukes, great artist. Speaking Tomato, my art piece Trekking Tales won the 2R2IO Join XYZ art contest and will get 0.1 ETH and take part in an exhibition in real life gallery located in Seoul. So I think this is AI. I'm not positive though, but it looks like AI, doesn't it? So just a cool work here from Speaking Tomato. Give her a like. And continuing on, this was sent to me, full transparency, AC0042, but I thought, what a brilliant work. Bijut Sukan Art Gallery. I just thought it was a beautiful AI work from an artist I hadn't seen before. And so just very cool AI artwork. And it's like I think they said in a tweet, this is like the gallerist in their gallery here. Again, a gift, and thank you for sending that. Very cool. AC0042. Danielle King. Wow, Wunderkammer is sold out already. Thank you, everyone. And by the way, I don't show everything that's sent. So don't go crazy or don't do anything. I don't request any of it or anything just for, again, I just try and let people know if that's showed up in my wallet and I'm showing it. I don't want to not be able to show it. Let's put it that way. So continue on. Danielle King. So Wunderkammer. Now, Wunderkammer is a word. So Danielle King put out a series here. Wunderkammer is like if you go to the British Museum, you'll see these, it's kind of like an 18th century thing where they had these cabinets of wonderful things and just strange oddities. Maybe it's like an old fossil, maybe it's a piece of metal or a gem or something. And so Danielle King is referencing the Wunderkammer in this series here. And you see how there's all these kind of different things. Very cool AI series. This is with M-props. So again, I'm not exactly sure. You see there's just all these different, again, oddities. Science was kind of breaking out in the 18th century. So just kind of the thing that a lot of rich people, frankly, did. And again, you'll see a lot of interesting ones at the British Museum. Maybe I'll go, but I'm more interested in the Natural History Museum next week. I'm thrilled I got sick now, not on Wednesday when I'm going to take a plane. Emil M. Props. Thank you, Kaja Beats, for the killer collection. Elemental Effortless Study of Semi-Abstract. So this is also M. Props. So I believe Emil M. Props, painter and digital cryptogen AI artist. So just interesting, kind of modern looking, isn't it? Just nice brush strokes, and you see great little textures in there too, in the blue there. It looks like a painting. And again, you put that with the art matter, which we were seeing with Lily Illo, also Danielle King, and you start making those, it seems like these textures could be made in real life. Kristen Hjellerjurdi Gallery, tonight, Hyung Gallery in Cambridge, Sohaila Sokhanvari is releasing some incredible genius new work for We Could Be Heroes. Here's the other part of Love Atomic. So this is a diptych, I think, or at least a two-part series. Look at how great. I mean, beautiful oil painting, inverted. So quite brilliant here. Again, that is Sohaila Sokhanvari. Very cool art. And Kristen Hjellerjurdi is booming and has great just artists. Just a really cool art gallery. Studio Denis Scholl. So this looks like it's out of Berlin here. Studio Denis Scholl, detailed transitional environments, oil on canvas. I didn't realize this artist was local. Look at how great this is. And you almost see the whale or the shark or the monster eating the figure. There's almost something kind of Max Ernstish about this with the monsters and this beautiful, figure here with what looks like blood coming up and kissing this person in the, made of plants, almost kind of mythological looking. And Steven Schwarzer, also out of Germany here, with another beautiful drawing. This is on Instagram here. Call one La Habana Polcromos auf Papier. So polychrome on paper, so maybe just colored pencils on paper. Cool work there. This was interesting painting too. Big fan of Stanislas Pichek. No tokens, just thick, nasty oil on canvas. This is Groceries Now for his new solo exhibition, Cocktails Before Noon. All of his paintings carry this lightness, but are also disturbing when you scratch beneath the surface. So NFT for Humans posting this. So interesting work, I thought here. Just interesting, nice kind of expressionist work, I suppose you'd say. Continuing on, Mikkel Nolsen. These 4 works were going to be my first mints on Super Rare. Well, at least they were the works I originally unsuccessfully applied to as Super Rare with. I think Mikkel is on Super Rare, though, now, if I'm not mistaken. By the time I had moved on in my head to another series, and these folks kind of got stuck in limbo. So let's take a look at more physical, beautiful abstract work here by Mikkel Nolsen. One of the first 2 people to encourage this show on Twitter, the other being Chimosku Jackson. So big shout out to Mikkel Nolsen and your beautiful work here. on Twitter here, and I believe is on Super Rare. Now, let's just take a look. Mentor at VCare Residency. Interesting. Living in Arium spaces and crypto voxels. I think Mikkel is local. I need to actually have a beer with Mikkel. And on that note, when I'm feeling a little better, thank you for joining me once again. And until next time, take care.